In 2004, a 19-year-old college student built a website in his dorm room that would eventually know more about you than your closest friends. Not your name, not your birthday, your fears, your habits, your attention span. And 15 years later, governments around the world would quietly admit something uncomfortable. They don't regulate Facebook. Facebook regulates reality. This story is not about a social media app. It's about how Mark Zuckerberg turned human attention into the most valuable commodity on Earth, and why walking away is harder than it looks. Harvard, winter, 2003. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't popular. He wasn't charismatic. He wasn't even particularly interested in people. He was interested in systems, how things scale, how information moves, how rules can be bent without technically being broken. One night, fueled by beer and resentment, he hacked together a site called FaceMash. Students voted on who was hotter. It crashed Harvard's servers in hours. Administration was furious, but Mark learned something important. People will give you attention faster than they'll give you permission. That lesson would shape everything that came next. A few months later, Facebook launched. Not for the world. Not even for America. Just Harvard. Real names. Real faces. Real connections. It felt safe, exclusive, controlled. And that was the genius. Facebook didn't grow because it was flashy. It grew because it copied real life and removed friction. You didn't need to convince people to join. Their friends did it for you. This is the first hidden mechanism, network effects. In simple terms, the product gets better automatically every time someone else joins. 1 user is useless. 10 users are interesting. 1 million users are unavoidable. By the time Facebook opened to other colleges, it wasn't competing with MySpace. It was replacing social gravity itself. Money didn't matter yet. Revenue didn't matter. Mark cared about one thing: growth. And here's the uncomfortable part. Growth at Facebook wasn't just a business metric. It was a belief system. In Silicon Valley, most founders chase profits. Mark chased dominance. Because once you control the social graph, money becomes a detail. In 2005, Facebook took its first big check. Peter Thiel, $500,000. Not for ads, not for infrastructure, for one simple reason: to make sure someone else didn't buy Facebook first. At this point, Facebook was losing money, burning cash, scaling recklessly. But the math underneath was terrifyingly strong. Every new user brought their entire social circle with them. Every interaction generated data, and data compounds. Facebook wasn't just mapping who you knew, it was learning how humans behave at scale. Who you click, who you ignore, what makes you angry, what makes you stay. Then came the newsfeed, and everything changed. In 2006, Facebook stopped being a directory. It became a machine. Instead of you choosing what to see, Facebook chose for you. An algorithm. Quiet. Invisible. Optimized for one thing. Engagement. Not happiness. Not truth. Time. The more time you spent, the more ads could be shown. The more ads shown, the more data collected. The more data collected, the better the targeting. A perfect feedback loop. This is the second hidden mechanism. Facebook doesn't sell ads, it sells certainty. Advertisers don't pay to reach people, they pay to reach the right person at the right emotional moment. Angry, lonely, confident, insecure. Facebook knows when you're most persuadable, sometimes before you do. By 2012, Facebook went public, a $100 billion valuation. critics laughed. It doesn't make real money, it's just a website. They missed the point. Facebook wasn't a company, it was infrastructure. That same year, Mark Zuckerberg spent $1 billion on Instagram, a company with 13 employees, no revenue, just photos. Wall Street called it insane. Mark called it defense. Instagram wasn't a threat yet, but it could become one. And Facebook doesn't compete. It absorbs. This is strategy number 3. Buy potential rivals before they realize what they are. WhatsApp followed. $19 billion. A messaging app that barely charged anything. Again, critics scoffed. But WhatsApp had something priceless. Global reach. Private communication. No ads. Facebook didn't buy WhatsApp for money. It bought it for control over human connection itself. By the mid-2010s, Facebook touched politics, media, relationships, and identity. Entire news industries bent around its algorithm. Publishers optimized headlines not for readers, but for shares. Outrage traveled faster than facts, because outrage kept people scrolling. And then the cracks showed. Cambridge Analytica wasn't an accident, it was a symptom. When your business model rewards engagement above all else, truth becomes optional, division becomes profitable, and neutrality becomes a myth. Regulators noticed. Governments asked questions. Mark testified, wore a suit that didn't quite fit, apologized carefully, promised reform. And then, nothing really changed. Because here's the quiet truth. Breaking Facebook isn't easy, not legally, not economically, not culturally. You can fine it, it writes the check. You can investigate it, it outlasts the headlines. Because Facebook isn't just an app on your phone. It's woven into how businesses advertise, how politicians campaign, how families communicate. This is the uncomfortable math. Over 3 billion people use Facebook products. That's not market share. That's planetary scale. And Mark Zuckerberg understands something most people don't want to admit. If you control attention, you influence behavior. If you influence behavior, you shape outcomes. And if you shape outcomes long enough, you don't need to run the world. The world adjusts itself around you. Which brings us to Meta. The rebrand wasn't about innovation. It was about time. When Facebook became politically radioactive, Mark looked forward. Virtual reality, digital identities, persistent worlds. A future where Facebook isn't a website, it's the environment. The bet is simple. If social media built the map of human relationships, the metaverse builds the terrain. And once again, profits can wait. Because dominance is the goal. So did Mark Zuckerberg build Facebook by being a genius coder? Partly. Did he get lucky? Absolutely. But the real reason Facebook won is darker and simpler. It aligned perfectly with human nature. Our need to belong. Our fear of missing out. Our addiction to validation. Facebook didn't create those instincts. It monetized them. And that leaves us with a question that doesn't have a clean answer. If a platform shapes what we see, what we believe, and who we listen to, at what point does it stop being a company and start being a power? Because walking away from Facebook isn't just deleting an app, it's stepping outside the system that quietly learned how to keep you inside. And the scariest part, it's still learning.